Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
He let his ka slip free of his flesh and into the spirit realm. His true self soared forth, leaving its fleshy confines on the rooftop. He was Mankara, the great bull of Horus once more.
This is The Long War. I am Robbie B / Juicy J, your host for this evening. Here with me are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspel, and Jason Craze from Slow Fuse Gaming.
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, what's going on tonight, guys?
Yeah, I feel like I just, that was my best Robbie B, and I was exploding inside. Like, I want to be more hyped. Robbie B is an animal.
You're not Robbie B?
Wait, I thought you were Robbie B's juice.
Wait a second.
I love it.
I feel cheated.
Robbie B is a true actor because he can get away with all this stuff. So how's everybody doing tonight?
I think that's a perfect explanation.
Yes.
I didn't know better than have to be two of me to contain all my enthusiasm.
There we go. I didn't know if that was like a Kenny, like a brushing off your shoulders, feeling good, or if he just let out a big fart.
That's where I'm at these days. It's about all I can get out is a. that's 2017 reality truth bomb.
Yep. It is what we hold. We hold no punches here at the Long War, even against ourselves.
No doubt. No, it's been obviously it's been an eventful evening. We just got off the webcast. I know that Jason was over on Slow Fuse Gaming streaming.
Yes, sir.
Doing some models, and we got Mike Haspel just holding it down, doing his writing thug dizzle.
Yeah, we're 6 days out now, and it's getting real. I'm writing about 2 blogs a day that are all going to drop on the same day. So it's like I'm going to basically on the 18th, I own the internet. Nice. So if you guys log in.
So you're going to Kim Kardashian nude photos the internet?
Yeah, okay. I will be everywhere. You will not be able to avoid me.
Night vision, sex scenes incoming.
Oh yeah, we need to get Haspel into an epic photo shoot.
Oh, no one wants that.
I want that.
I was going to say, Haspel, I want you to understand, like, more people are going to want that than you realize. So let's just make it happen.
Yeah. Just do it. No, man, it's been a blast. I'm gonna do my first 8th edition tournament this weekend.
Hey, what do you know? So am I.
So are you.
And so am I. I'm doing the first points one this weekend because we did the power level one.
But that was more of a clan gathering, tribal.
Yeah, that was an event. That wasn't a tournament. Like this is the first one that actually we're caring about victories and it's competitive and everything.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very big weekend for the Long War. And obviously, as a table of contents to the episode, we will be talking about the ATCs, which is obviously what Juice is talking about in the second half of the show for sure, because it's a big deal. Because Dicehead Gaming, Dicehead.com, one of the sponsors here, you guys hear the commercials every week. That's their event, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you've heard us talk about it throughout the years and throughout the podcast, and we're going to dive in, as Kenny alluded to, later in the show. But it is, if you don't know, you need to ask somebody. It is the one of the premier top 3 events in the country, in the world, and it is one of a kind. Having a 5-man team event where you get your buddies together and whatever kind of goal you want to try to accomplish, you can. It is the most fun is the months leading up, talking about what is this?
It's what we talk about, Juice, all the time. Is 99% of what we do in 40K happens in the Beats Lab. It's phone calls, 2:00 in the morning phone calls.
Yes.
It's all this crazy, thought processes, and that's where you get all this love. And that this actually actualizes that. And this is based off of the ETC, the European Team Championships. And this was actualized on the old 40K Wrecking Crew forums. You guys remember those days? Back in those days, and we were like, we should do an American Team Championship because of how large the United States is and how many regions there are. We have easily enough competitive players that we can do our own version of that. And then my man, I want to give credit where credit's due. Al Gleason, you guys remember him? Mm-hmm. I think he's the Bolter and the Blade and Bolter boys.
Yep.
I believe is their team. And he was one of the first guys back in day one, 40K Wrecking Crew forum days. We had a big forum back in days. He was like, hey, I think I know a guy. we should move forward on this. And he was just like, no one's, I mean, not taking credit or anything like that. The 40K, it was just, we had a big forum and people were talking about it on a public forum. And then of course our man Shane got his hands on it and his buddy Chris, I believe. And then here we are all these years later with this amazing.
I think this is year 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Is this 6?
6, I think. Yo,
yeah.
Literally.
I mean, it's unreal. And guys, just to put it in perspective, there's always been like 20, 30, 35, 40 teams. This year there is 60. They capped it out.
65-man teams.
Yes, that is unreal. And it just takes gaming to a whole new level because not only are you gaming it months ahead of time to figure out your list that can, you're the most point affected, the who's going to use the detachments now, who's going to use this character, who's going to use all this stuff, who's going to use what army in what fashion.
You are restricted. You can't just all have the same list.
And then so you're doing all that. Then the day of the game, you're the captains and you start swapping lists. And now you're putting down lists, counter lists. And then you're countering lists with table terrain. Out of the 5 tables, 1 is going to be sparse as hell, 1 is going to be loaded as hell, and then 3 pretty much evens. So you're playing like games within games within games before you actually put your models on the table. It is for us competitive people. Again, we will talk about it more, but for anybody who doesn't enjoy competition, don't go to ATC. Like
is this still in Chattanooga? Where is it this year? Is it?
Yes, it is. It's right outside of Chattanooga.
So if you're anywhere close, remotely close, even with a couple hour drive, you owe it to yourself to drive out to the event. Dicehead.com for other. I think it's actually Warhammer ATC WHATC.org.
Yes,
you guys can definitely. You need to go out there. It's not a convention. We've talked about many times. It's a beat down tournament, and if you want to see some beat down action and some people drinking beers and having a blast, definitely want to be there. And obviously not to harp on it. Let's turn it over to Mike Haspel to lead us in the discussion on the tabletop marketplace.
All right. Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff dropping here. This weekend should be dropping the No Fear. It is a Warhammer 40K starter set. Retails for about $80. It comes with a bunch of some snap fit or easy to build models that were different than the ones in the other one. But it is Primaris against Death Guard again. So you get a smattering of Primaris Marines, you get a smattering of Death Guard guys. It looks like that there's like some kind of a
Did you say those are snap fit? I think they're the same exact kits because I think they're actually.
Are they? Okay.
Well, I think it's kind of. Do you remember when Overkill came out? That was the one that had the Aberrants and the Genes to the Cults models originally. Do you guys remember that? Like,
so. Yeah,
that was the first. Within years, then almost a year later, we got the Genes to the Cult rules, and Aberrants weren't a part of it because I think that whole set was easy to build. And if you actually look at what you got in Dark Imperium, like these are like clan packs almost, right? These are easy to build models.
Yeah.
So this is how far GW has come as a model making company. Like that whole box set, Dark Imperium, that's like 3-piece kits, bro. That's how high level their plastic assembly is right now. And so I think, and they should know no fear because I actually just ordered like fucking 6 of them. It's the same models you got out of Dark Imperium minus the sprue that was all the extra characters and minus the additional Poxwalker sprue that had the other 2 Plague Marines on it, which is why it's 5 Plague Marines, the Primaris Captain and the Contagion, and not the Ancient and the Lieutenant.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So like, because if you're talking about money value deal, this is the new heater. It's like literally $80.
Yeah, it's $80. You don't get the rule book. You get basically like a starter
street value. My estimation, $292 street value.
Oh wow.
So that's I obviously like these are the type of things we provide on Twitch rewards and stuff. So I have street value over almost $300 for $80 full retailer, but you're talking about people are doing 15% off left and right now. So
yeah, so it seems like Kenny covered that pretty good. So
that's the limit of what I have because that's near and dear to my Twitch reward.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to it also comes with like part of the box can be used as terrain because it's made to look like a bunker, and there is some kind of a play mat that's included in there as well. It looks like it will come with a set of the rules. Like the book that comes with it is not like the main 40K rule book that we got out of the other one. This is like your basic starter rule, not a mini rule book, but it has the rules in there so you can play, and it has like 6 different missions that teach you how to play and everything. This is more of a genuine starter set. than trying to get some. But like you said, I still can't get rid of my Death Guard, so I need more Primaris Marines. If I can find people to trade, I will. But otherwise,
I know a guy who's going to be able to possibly hook you up. I have a shitload of these coming in. I pre-ordered a substantial amount of these.
All right. So the next thing, I'm actually excited about this next one. It's these open war card decks. And way back and forth whenever Apocalypse first hit, there was like a set of cards that people could make at home, that gave you different stratagems and everything. Well, this is kind of the same thing. It's open war. It's really about like 6 or 5 types of cards. You get a deck of 48 cards, and they change the deployment. They change the objectives that you're after. They give whoever the underdog is different advantages, stuff like that, so that it is constantly random. So it's great for open play games. I don't see, competitive people probably not going to use this that much, but it's great for that, rolling up to the FLGS and you've played the same mission over and over again. And you're like, hey, you know what? We're just going to deal out a mission and see what goes. So I'm probably going to pick those up. They look pretty cool. Then we have a Death Guard paint set. That's the little half bottles of paint that come out so you can paint your guys. And then we have some, again, they're called easy to build. But now that Kenny points it out, they probably are the same models of 3 Space Marine intercessors for 15 American dinari. So that's pretty cool.
Which is groundbreaking in the world of GW impulse items. Like we talked about it very extensively last podcast. And because Rob Baer, being the retail mastermind that he has been for years, always coming up with cashback, point systems, trying to help people, make their dollar stretch further. Cause he was always talking about there was nothing that you can slap a 20 on the table for and walk away with actual models from 40K from GW.
Yeah.
Cause it was 20 plus taxes. He was like, we need something in the $10 to $15 range. And here we go. You get 3 models out of paint. Get the fuck out of here. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. And then if you're not, Ultramarine or Loyalist guy, they have the same thing for Death Guard, Plague Marines, 15 American dinars. So that's pretty cool for 3 guys. They look pretty good. You can also get for $15. You can also get some Poxwalkers, 6 of them. So that seems pretty good. We also have the Warhammer 40K Collect, Build, Paint, and Play booklet. That's going to retail for $8. And if I remember right, when they came out with, basically it was like a collector's guide, throwback to what they used to do when there was bits ordering. They would have these catalogs that would come out. This is a little bit like that, but it's basically just it's an advertisement for the hobby. For $8. The Age of Sigmar one that they made was actually really cool. So I feel like
sorry to interrupt, but you just took me way back, dude. I'm remembering 03 sitting down in the hobby shop and grabbing I need the 40K book. And grabbing it, and it was like a fucking dictionary big, and you flip through whatever thing, and whatever race you have, faction you're playing at the time, and it's like Carnifex. All right, I need this bit. C5L449. Yep. You're writing it down. Dude, you literally took me back to a memory I haven't even thought of in years.
I can't believe GW didn't revitalize that after they cracked down on bits and box breaking and stuff. I can't believe. I thought in my heart of hearts, I was like, oh, it's because they're bringing bits back.
Yeah, I think it was just too expensive for them because, all the bits were metal and you have to warehouse all that stuff. So
or hire 17 guys at basic salary to take the already existing sprues you guys manufacture and break them up.
Yeah.
Come to find out, we've seen this business module.
I feel like that business model is pretty successful. But I can't tell a bunch of British people how to do business.
And come to find out, it's pretty successful at a 45% margin. Let alone if you were getting it at true.
If you were the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Hey, but GW, we don't know shit, man. But at any time, literally, we'll sign any piece of paper to help you guys with stuff.
All right. And on the horizon coming down, we have a Blood Bowl, Skaven, and Dwarf pitch that they're selling. So it's a different pitch for your Blood Bowl teams and has some additional stuff there. Sorry, I was like mush mouth for a second there. And then to go along with that, they have a Skaven team dice set that'll retail for $12.50. They look pretty cool. They're cool looking dice, and of course, if you got the Skaven, you got the dwarf dice set, which looks cooler in my estimation. It looks a lot better.
Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder there, Haskell. Okay. The Skaven are just wonderful models. With the release of 8th edition, it's so sad how many games went by the wayside on my end. Like Age of Sigmar, you're basically dead to me. Blood Bowl, you are basically dead to me. It is going to be a long time before I have any kind of spare time to pick up those when I could pick up 40K again.
Yeah, we had, when we did our event, we had an old veteran who had not played 40K in a long time come back, and he played in our event, played 3 games, power level, 8th edition. And then, I asked him, I said, so what, are you back or whatever? And he's like, yeah, my biggest problem is I got $2,000 of Warhammer Hordes that is just going to sit around, because I can't imagine a time I wouldn't want to play 40K. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, my Stormcast Eternal Army did not get finished. It's going to be years until that gets finished.
It's one of those, it's like if my jobs and businesses I'm involved with, if they didn't keep me so busy, I would literally play games all day. Like if I was a hobby shop owner or that was I could play every game, every game system in the same day and be happy. But I only have X amount of hours to actually be over a tabletop. Oh, I'm not wasting them on anything but 40K.
Yeah. And speaking of that, wrapping up that, we have the Fate of Konor campaign, and this is a worldwide global campaign that GW is kicking off. And I kind of have egg on my face on this because I've been asking for this for a long time, and right now I have no time. I'm like, no, I still want to do this. The last time they did this, I think it was the Medusa 5 campaign, and they're kicking this thing off right now. The muster has begun. So if you go to your FLGS, they can kind of give you guidelines. Basically on the 27th, I think it's going to kick off. And supposedly even the store owners don't know what the mission is going to be. They received an envelope with the mission and it's sealed, and they're supposed to unseal the mission on the 27th, and you battle it out. And I guess whatever happens in the stores based on victories and stuff, that's what's going to happen in the fluff. So that is really, really cool. It makes me think back to Legend of the Five Rings, when they used to incorporate whoever won the big tournaments and everything into the fluff, which was really neat. And so it seems like they're doing some version of that. And as the weeks roll around, I guess there is a prescribed list. And unfortunately, I don't have that written down. But week 1 is a start collecting box, and then week 2 you can add an elite. Week 3 you add a tank. Week 4 you add a fast attack or something like that. These aren't exactly precise. I'm trying to go off of memory. But if you do that, you get double the points. If you use that kind of comp, you get double the points for whatever your thing is. So should be a blast. I'm really, really looking forward to this because, again, it's a global campaign. It seems like we've been asking for this for a long, long time. And it's essentially Games Workshop's version of organized play. So it should be really, really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Which brings us into another campaign for another game system, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're correct. Yeah, we've been having it go for a long time. It's the Infinity Strike Zone Wotan campaign that's been going on, and much like Mike was saying, globally, I think it's always awesome to have these kind of narrative-driven campaigns that can actually alter the game world. I mean, who doesn't want to take part in their game and the outcome of a particular thing? And these let you have some semblance of play in the momentum of the storyline. And, I've said it a lot of times, Infinity, not as rich of a storyline, hasn't been around. Well, it's been around for a long time, actually. I just learned that I think Infinity's been around since 2006, which I wasn't aware of. I didn't know it was quite that old, but not the narrative behind it. They've got a great universe built, but they are now working more storyline into it. And along with a website out there called Beasts of War, they're doing this global campaign. And we played a live game on Saturday here at the Beats Lab in Arizona, and pulled it off. As great. Lots of viewers on Twitch. Great, nice, easy rules working through. I don't think we blew too many things during the course of it. And the best part is I won. I mean, come on. So Kenny blaming me for having cheesy army lists. We got to do a little bit of defending of the Yujing mothership that's there at the Strike Zone Wotan Gate. The story behind it is that Wotan is a jump gate that connects two systems, and the one system, Paradiso, is where the aliens are basically attacking our first contact with this alien army, the combined army forces, and the Wotan Gate is all that keeps them at the other end of humanity. And so all the politics and infighting that's going on between all the human factions on the side of the Wotan Gate is kind of how the narrative is playing out. People are pointing fingers. Well, you're the one that let the aliens in here. No, you're not. Well, we got, and so there's all sorts of really cool storyline evolving from it. And basically people are playing games, putting their battle reports up on this United site. And then Corvus Belli, the manufacturer, is taking all of the input of how those games roll and seeing, which factions are carrying momentum and winning the most. And then they're generating the next phase of the campaign with those outcomes in place. So if, say, a strike cruiser for one of the factions gets completely taken over by another faction, then the storyline plays out with that next faction owning that particular ship at the gate, which then changes the political structure and what can happen and so on. So it's really cool. I think it's in 2-week bursts for each of the stages. I want to say it's 2 weeks. Might be longer than that. I might be lying. At each stage for the story to progress, and then it's going to keep running for multiple weeks throughout the summer. So it's really awesome. Had a ton of fun.
Playing them OP lists, yeah, no doubt. Everyone has
OP, cheesy OP lists, man. I brought a list that I'm still consider myself new to this game, and I brought a list that I thought was going to be fun based on what viewers had come up with during the stream the night before, saying, hey, what would you like to see? And they told me a couple of models, so we put those models in there. For anybody that knows and watches my stream, my girlfriend Jen has got blonde hair that goes to pink and purple ends. And so she is one of my ninjas in my force. My Yuching is an Asiatic kind of force, and there's a lot of high-tech ninjas in it. And she's the leader of my high-tech ninjas. And I basically use her as a missile. At the beginning of my opening, she can deploy in a forward position. She's got superior infiltration, can basically deploy in the enemy's right at the edge of the enemy's deployment zone. So imagine how cool that would be in games where you need, a super killy unit that can deploy like literally in their face. So what you do is you cross your fingers, you hope they put a valuable unit right at the edge of their deployment zone, and then you roll for your hidden deployment at the, right before you start the game. And if you nail your target number, you basically get to put this hidden TO camo, think Ghost in the Shell, invisible armor, ninja right in front of their big expensive unit. And if you get first turn, you basically go, okay, well, I'm gonna start the game by removing your most priority thing off the table.
That sounds a lot like 40K 8th edition.
Jen is my missile. She gets in there, does kill stuff, then dies. She dies every game. I don't think she ever survives, but she does work. So she came in there and cut the heads off some people, and we won. Life is good.
That's fucking awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, that's that heat though, right? You want to see some more of these live games, check it out. Slow Fuse Gaming on Twitch, man. But let's jump into a quick commercial break, guys. Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
elrixhobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elrix Hobbies. elrixhobbies.com. And we're back. So now we're entering into the part of the show that we like to call the meat and potatoes. And we're going to start that off by coming full circle back to the ATC. Juice?
Absolutely. I want to start this segment off by saying, when you decide to make the path, buy the tickets, drive, fly, walk to ATC, at this point in the game, you have to know you're going to be facing the best of the best. You're going to, not only are the generals in the entire room going to have 5 or at least 4 punch you in the mouth list, with a 5th being a curveball, trying to spice something up because you can't have redundancies. Whatever is good, everybody's going to take a lot of, aka spam. That's literally what's going to happen. Especially, I think this is the second or third time that ATC has been the short end of the stick where a new edition has come out.
This is the second time. Okay, this is the third time total, and the first time it was the last edition of 5th edition. So it was the last tournament. We played this tournament where 6th edition had already come out, but we played it at 5th. And then from then on out, they've gotten in this situation again where they were on the lead. They were like the leaders of like planning this event for a year, and then the new edition switched over. So they've embraced it. They rapid fire, got everything together. And the community's competitors, they don't give a fuck. They're like, yo, we'll play whatever rules you tell us to play. Just tell us the rules ahead of time, and we'll bring that heat.
And the heat is exactly what's being brought. And right now, with a limited set of core rules, indexes, no codices, and any other supplements out there, only thing we can go off of is true story spam. You can call it what you want. You can use that as a negative terminology if that's what makes you happy. You can call it for what it is. But let me tell you, spam done the right way with the best, most advantageous, cheapest, powerful units is what is going to win 40K right now. To say anything otherwise is just show ignorance. Like, that's just all across the board. If the whole premise behind it doesn't even make any sense when somebody tells me spam isn't good or isn't going to win.
We're not even and there's a caveat to that. Like, it's more than that. Like, MSU is the original spam. That's potentially a billion cheap units, right? We're talking about spamming Land Raiders. We're talking about spamming Demon Princes. We're talking about spamming Night Titans. We're talking about spamming Crimson Hunters. We're not talking about just spamming cheap shit. We're talking about what's good. You take all of it.
You're going to take it. You're going to take Gilliman and 6 Devastator squads with 4 missile launchers each and a Cherub. So that means they shoot 5 shots each. Each Devastator
and
turn
their hits. I mean, and so
rerolled a hit and rerolled a wound because of Gilliman.
I had a great phone call with a long-time listener and friend of the show who I've drank in multiple bottles of Elijah Craig with. My man Marshall and the original Slim Shady, I think is what we were calling him. And he was talking about he was going to ATCs. He's going to see you guys here this weekend. But he was talking about it. He's like, yo, we don't have formations. We don't have codexes. So the only way to play competitively right now, because when you say tournament, you say, I'm here to win, which is the whole purpose of an event is to win, whatever the format is. Now, if there's hobby score, winning has been redefined that include that, like the long war doubles is what it's always been about, right? But if there's no hobby score, which most tournaments don't have it, it's you're winning. So right now you're taking the best shit. You're taking as many of it as you can, and you're trying to figure out a combo that exploits that. But we're going to get command points. We're going to get Legion specific stuff soon. We're going to get codexes that are going to reward you for taking a more unified force. And when we're even going to get formations that might tempt you to not take the same thing 9 times in a row. Maybe these tax units are going to be look historically, like a Warcon. The tax units were more than adequate to make you want to play it, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So formations you're going to find a place. So everyone's like, formations are ruined 40K. You're going to go to an event like this. You're going to see the best playtesting that you can possibly do. These 300 some individuals are going to be playing the hardest list in 40K, 60 teams. And the format of ATC doesn't let you have the same army 5 times repeated on a team.
You're forced to see so many different more options.
It's going to be a balanced battlefield instead of going to like a big event like LVO was last year, where whatever insert percentage of the battlefield and then insert faction that was represented by that percentage. That's what you see at big events like that. What you see at ATC is an exact equal 1/5 of the field will be each type of super powerful spam list. And you're going to see how they fight against each other over and over and over again, over 48 hours and 6 games. More work for GW, like balancing and playtesting, is going to happen in that 48-hour time period than has happened since pre-release to this moment.
Yeah, and I mean, just to hit on spam one more time. I just want you to know we have all demonized spam because of, oh, it's repetitive, it's this and this. But for any Marine player that says, okay, well, I'm going to bring 3 or 4 Storm Ravens with, 5 or 6 other units. You can call it what you will, bro. That is a spam Raven list. You can call it fluff, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what it is. So before we all demonize everything, but anybody who's like, oh, the Space Marine guy who's bringing 4 Terminator squads, that the goal is to try to deep strike out of turn 1, you're spamming Terminators because you feel that gives you some of the best chance to win. So what's happening at ATC is you're going to see stuff like, I actually don't even care. Like, so many people are putting so much emphasis on if you have the fewest amount of drops, that's who wins the game or who goes first. Like, man, you guys are looking at the game a little different now than I am, because all we've been doing is hyper focus on what the best units in the game are at the cheapest point cost and using a bunch of them. To be honest, when you run 11 units that are all around 160 points each, that all shoot 3 to 4 strength 8 -4 Ren D6 damage a turn, like your 3 Baneblade list or 3 Night Titan list is going to kill 3 or 4 of my flyers. I have enough firepower through attrition to bang down 1.5 Night Titans, two Night Titans, and I win that, in the long haul. So it's like, but you have to go that hard in the paint with firepower. And just to put in reference of what we're talking about is this year at ATC, I am pairing up with everybody's favorite Austin A-Dog, Kelsey Haley, the best 40K player in the history of ever, Max Dubois, and a local to the Virginia area, Ernie, and we decided that we want to go in best foot forward and truly try to win. We didn't say, as we've done in years past with teams I've been on, like, yo, we're going to be good, we're going to bring the best list possible and whatever, but in the restrictions of, I really want to play NIDS, guys. So I'm going to bring the best NID list that I can. Tell me what kind of what I need to do. I need to be a put out? Do I need to be, a tabler or something like that? Like, but I want to play.
I think the pros call it what a defensive list.
A defender, yeah, a defender or an attacker. And so now even a defender is more like a denial army.
I'm just going to rebrand those a pitcher and a catcher.
There it is. So this year we decided as a team, because this is what the team wants to do, that we want to try to put our best foot forward, take the most broken, best, highly competitive, hyper potentially spammed armies to win the entire thing. And we have the talent enough. We have everything else. So you just have to make sure you have the list. So you set your best foot forward going into the day of the event. The only thing now that you have to truly worry about is matchups and dice. So that list come to me, just came down to me playing 7 Crimson Hunters, 4 Ravengers, and Illic Night Spinner, the sniper. That's my list. It shoots 40 strength 8 -3 -4 rend D6 damage or guaranteed 3 damage a turn that doesn't have to move off my table edge.
Yep, because of Vector Dancer.
Hold me closer, Tiny Dancer. Yeah, I'm literally, again, and you want to talk about like true spam of this is 9 of those in a Wraith Knight.
Yeah.
Like how ridiculous is that?
And but that's what I love about it is that, there's GW, you have access to some of some groups of hobbyists out there that do this, like Austin and Kelsey, our friend Alan Pajama Pants, who's like a champion in this game. Facebook's messaged me some of the lists he's been working on, and he plans on hitting every major event this year with almost a different list at every event, trying to force the learning curve, trying to like get the real beta test, the real, actual, let the dust settle. And like, this is what we're looking at. People like him and Kelsey and Austin have taken it upon themselves. So that's what they do. And Juice had mentioned earlier that they would come out with an FAQ that directly affected Kelsey, which was, all the command squad spam he was doing. Now they're saying you need to have an actual HQ to pair that with. So he had this amazing list. You put this restriction on him, and then within 18 minutes of thinking in the Beats Lab, he had actually netted shots by changing the list into a better version of the list. So that's what we offer. We are down to work with you guys, man. We say it all the time as a joke, but literally, man, you can have people like in Chicago, like Alan Pajama Pants and his group, and then here in Virginia, Austin and his group. And these guys could do 15 days of Imperium and Xenos and then switch for the last 15 days, and in 30 days inside of a month, the story, the actual story of where we're at with these indexes will be told to you very concisely.
Yeah. And that's just a great point to hit on, is like, when the first set of rules that come out to try to fix something, and all it did was make the list better now because people just had to spend 20 more minutes in their Beats lab. Like, in my opinion, that was just a lackadaisical, fix. If that's what was wanting to do. I don't know if there's any way that people could have known that ahead of time. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to throw somebody under the bus too much, but I'm just sitting here like, come on, guys. Like, if we want to make changes, you got to make changes to where it actually matters to the game, and I actually used this analogy earlier, talking about video games. So instead of alienating these guys saying, oh, well, the people who break this game, that's what's wrong with it, that's blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, you need to, like the government, like anything else, they will pair up with the best of the best in their field to make sure that they're on the side to foresee this brokenness before it happens, as it's happening. So they're ahead of the curve instead of being behind the curve, then put out something, to try to fix it, then come to find out it doesn't do anything at all. It just nets people more shots.
Yeah.
And then furthermore, to make statements of saying, I just have to be real. And again, anybody who listens to the show and are fans of us and fans of the Long War, you understand that no matter what, no matter if it's GW, no matter if it's Kenny, no matter if it's me, we will always call it like we see it. Kenny, you're an idiot for saying this. Juice, you're an idiot. Are you kidding me? Like, GW does do this. It doesn't matter. Like, we will tell the truth if that's how we feel,
Yeah.
And
and GW, all you have to do is pay attention to what happens to the ATCs this weekend.
Yeah, hone in on it, but I just wanted to put out there before some unsuspecting individuals think that they can just take a balanced list to a tournament, that they know that there's going to be some hardcore spam list that hardcore this. I don't give a shit what you do. You are going to get tabled. Right now, how the current edition is set up in 8th, it doesn't truly matter too much what the mission structure is. You're going to table people. Like, that's the firepower that you can put out, the offense that you can muster, paired with the lack of terrain and modifiers, that truly don't mean much. You can get crippled turn 1 and then table by turn 3. I don't care that you have progressive missions. It does not matter when somebody brings Gilliman and 80 missile launchers, or, for example, a list that I talked about earlier, 240 heavy bolter shots that reroll ones to hit. It's just when you can just spam this easy. That's exactly what people are going to do, and I don't blame anybody who does, because you give me a rule set, that's what I'm going to play by. If you tell me my rule set is that I can only play battalions, guess what? I'm only going to play a battalion and still try to make the best list.
Which is something we talked about, honestly, like which we don't think needs to happen. We don't think anything like that drastic needs to happen. But if it did happen, those are not the types of changes we're against. We're against core rule changes, like change the mechanic in the game because you don't like the outcome. No, how about this? Instead of a tournament organizer, you just define the rules of your event. You say, we're playing match play, 2,000 points. We're playing battalion only. And you don't, and that's it. And like, so there's and that's what's cool about 40K is you can have any format you want, and you can create the emotion you want from that event. We're still very early in this game system. We're just very frustrated with because it's called like you see it, like you said, right? GW put out amazing models. They did everything they could to, fix 7th edition. In a lot of ways, I am still 1,000,000,000% more happy with 8th edition, even though it's spam right now, even though it's super crippling. But here's the takeaway: we get to engage finally. We get to actually kill. We finally get to kill models. It reminds me of 40K Epic, where I had 9 Land Raiders running around doing my thug thizzle like that. I want to play games that are quick, like Street Fighter. Street Fighter, I use that analogy. Remember, I used to use that analogy a lot. Then I couldn't use it anymore because what happened to the game and 7th edition. Street Fighter, one of my favorite games of all time. I love it because you can get very competitive. You can do all these in-game metas. You can study the frame data. You can do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, every time you had a bad game, 90 seconds later, you got to play again and improve. 90 seconds later, you got to play again and improve. GW has definitely done a lot of that in 8th edition. We are playing games at such a faster rate that even though you're getting crippled, you learned your list mistakes. You learned maybe your missteps. Maybe you learned maybe all these things. You learned it so much faster that you can adjust much quicker. And I think that even if we did an event like, the Long War Doubles Bringing Hobby Back event, I like sidebars. Like, I think that like sidebars could be a cool thing in 8th edition 40K. To where you can't.
That used to be a thing back in the day. I mean, I remember
Age
playing
of Sigmar did it in LVO. AOS and LVO had sidebars.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I do want to, and this actually will bring it full circle on why I love the sidebar aspect. I'm going to debunk right now why having 3 model drop or 4 model. Again, lists are already out, so I don't really care. Like, I'll talk about one of our ATC lists. It's 3 Baneblades with 25 plasma gun shots inside of it, right? With Harker that allows reroll 1s. Baneblades obviously are unreal right now. They're putting down volcano cannons, Avenger Gatling guns. Just unreal amount of firepower. Excuse me. Guess what I don't truly care about? That if you're saying that this is what it is, that if you play a balanced list versus a 3-drop Baneblade list, they will give first blood and they will kill enough of your army throughout the game that there is no way a balanced army is going to win that. But let me tell you what will. When you go hard in the paint and you say, okay, well, cool, I know I'm not going to go first, but I'm bringing, again, this Crimson Hunter Ravager list. I am bringing 12 units. The Baneblade list, I've mapped it out, will kill 3 to 4 of my units. In turn, I will kill 1.5 of theirs. I table them by turn 4, and I have 4 units left. Like, I don't care that I didn't go first. You know what I mean? So, like, you have to compare apples to apples. If everybody in the game, if 99% of the people in the game play fair and balanced lists, and that's what you try to push because you say that's how it is, and then you've got this
fair and balanced. That's the thing of the past, though. It's like,
that's what I'm saying. Absolutely. That's
not even a real term anymore. Is what I'm saying is like these are the detachments we have available to us.
Yes,
Battalion, Patrol, Supreme Command, Lord of War. These are the detachments available to us. There is no such thing as fair and balanced. This is the 41st millennium, homie.
There's only war.
There's only war, bro. If let's say I'm like the whatever, who would be the guy who's completely in charge of like the fleet in orbit? What would that guy? Admiral?
Yeah, at least.
Admiral, yeah.
So I'm Admiral
Akbar.
Boucher, right? Admiral Boucher looks over at, Chapter Master Haspel, and he says, Haspel, we need to go down there and fuck these orcs up. And we're in orbit, and we got to go down and suppress it. Like, you're my guy on the ground, obviously. I'm this fleet guy. Like, I'm going to kill all these orc, rocks floating around. I'm going to protect you. But you need to get down there and fuck these guys up. You have available to you the resources that we have brought with us in our barges. And here they are. And I show you a piece of paper. I transmit it to you and I say, here's the list of units you have available to you to accomplish the task. And these are the ships that are also available to you that will deploy your force. Go crazy. You're like, I'm feeling 10 Land Raiders. It says we have those in stock. I'm like, word, got it. All day.
Yeah, research says. Research says that they only have 11 power claws in their entire army, and no blah blah blah. Word, Land Raiders, it is. So it is so crazy to me when I hear a lot of people on multiple different platforms say, first off, bash spam because yes, sometimes in some mechanics it is a very easy way how to play or anything else. But again, I don't care about that. This is the rule set that is given to us. They have given to us the ability to have never before have we ever had it this easy that we can just take 6 elite choices and all we have to do is take an HQ. We can just take 6 heavy support choices. Like, so if the game creators did not want us to take multiples of something, why in the holy hell would they have done that? So that being said, so we can just debunk spam as if it's some negative meaning now, right? So then furthermore, to say that it's not good is just an ignorant statement. That's all I'm saying. For anybody who says spam isn't good, they're ignorant. I'm sorry. Like, if you're telling me you bring fair and balance and that's what you want to call it, where you play basically Highlander, I take a little bit of everything. Okay, cool. I'm going to table you. And again,
these are just terms that are there.
These are terms that I think
demonize. Spam is created to demonize taking multiple units that are the same. And Highlander is a term that's there to glorify somebody who doesn't do that.
Yeah, and I love this.
We all know that Highlander is the greatest movie ever made. It won an Academy Award for greatest movie of all time. So that's why that
is a fact. Okay, but what is so crazy to me is that the new editions change. We now have to call things data sheets and formations. There's no such thing as races or factions anymore. And then they changed it to do you have a patrol detachment? Do you have this and this? All that verbiage changes. everything in the game changes, except we want to hold on to fair and balanced. I love that, Kenny, how you brought that up. We want to hold on to spam, these old school names that haven't come up with the times. What GW didn't allow us in any other edition, just to take 3 detachments, and all 3 of those detachments can be 5 HQs. Never has GW given us that. So now we're supposed to
Command. I love Supreme Command.
Yeah.
My favorite
so,
one,
I mean,
bro.
yeah. So either way, ATC is going to bring out what the best of the best is. They are going to show. And to be honest, if you look at 40K and you look at anybody who has a problem with the go first mechanic, well, you want to know what? If you only bring 3 Bane Blades and I bring the equivalent kick you in the face type list, you're going to need that kill point, because I am going to take you down to your last model. And I'm going to get Warlord, you're not, and I'm going to get Linebreaker, and you're not. So you better had more kill points than me. You're going to need that, because I decided to bring an equivalent list for 8th edition.
It shows you a greater arc of thinking by GW, where people are like snap like against that, deploy first, choose to go first mechanic. It's like you just showed right there. People are like, oh, but 3 Bane Blades is unbeatable. It's like, but I'm playing 9 Crimson Hunters. It's not unbeatable. Like, they better go first if they want to get any points in a battle point tournament.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's to me, and it's so, and I'm not saying it's end all beat all. This game is going to evolve, but we need to cut through all the bullshit right now. See how this thing's going to play. Like, we talk about Supreme Detachment. Like, these are really easy combos. Like, anyone can understand that if you say, these are all the detachments I have available, GW made them so easy to use. Like, anything that you think of, I didn't do anything but say, what models do I have? How many of them can I play without taking cultists? And then I just looked at the detachment, and so it was like Supreme Detachment and this. Oh shit, I can play a fucking model I own without playing any of the cultists. Sick. Like, GW clearly knew, like, anyone could see that, right? It took me 10 minutes to figure out I could play 5 Psychers and 3 Eldrakes and not probably bring any cultists. Like,
And it's so funny to me is that, again, I'm not trying to, you want to know what I love about spam right now is because I can see the evolution of the game. I'm not stuck in one gear. So I can see right now playing 40K is this. Well, I know when codices come out. I know when we get supplements. I know it's going to completely change. So I love this aspect of 40K right now. Some people can't see that, right? So, and also I just want to touch on, some people are like, oh, well, what is spam if I don't run 100 of the same model? Like, come on, guys. Spam means multiple different things. Again, 4 Storm Ravens, 4 units that cost 260 points, 270 points each. That is called spamming. You have 4 of the same units, and it costs over half your army. That's considered spam. You still have enough points in other things. Now, again, to go so hard in the paint where I'm running 3 different units. I'm running 7 Crimson Hunters, 4 Ravengers, and Illic. So it's not like I'm running 11 of the exact same unit, but I mean, it can be done in multiple ways. Haspel, are you ready for this? You would be probably the least spammy person in history. You are always in for the love. You are always in for whatever. Tell me what you're going to be playing this weekend.
I'm playing, well, I was tinkering with the list, but I'm playing 6 penitent engines instead of
now
9.
Earlier you said 9, but 6 is still fine. 6 is still fine. It doesn't matter. Like, you're running 6 to 9 penitent engines.
Well, by dropping 3 of them, I could take 2 Corvus Black Stars. So
there you go. Obviously, that's the way to go. But again, at that point, it's considered spamming because there isn't really too many other options. I mean, guys, it just blows my mind when I hear some people talking and they just look at something a different way. And maybe I'm just going to stop using spamming and come up. That may be Kenny, Haspel, Jason. That is our job. Rob, when he gets back, that's our job, is to now come up with terminologies that don't demonize or heroize some people in the list style that they play.
Right.
I think we're tasked with that.
That hits it on the head. The language is controlled by the community, right? Because that's not something that the game company throws at you. And if it is, then it's probably innocuous. Like if it were generated by GW that this is a spam list, then spam would just be another way to run models that you thought were cool. And you didn't want to just have 1 dreadnought on the table. You wanted 6. Great. So you could run 6. And it would be built and balanced in a method that allowed you to just field what you thought was cool. What's happened is that spam tends to be things that are built off of the min-max gamer mentality. So you say, okay, what is the most efficient killing machine I can put, or the most efficient defensive machine I can put that will handle the most other list types and get me the most bang for my buck. And you look at that and then you say, how many of these can I bring? It's a natural reaction. It's nothing bad about it. If you're a good gamer at playing miniature war games, everybody goes there, no matter what the game is. I don't care if you're playing Batman, the miniature game. I don't care if you're playing, Pokemon. I don't give a damn what you're playing. You're going to look for these things. And the more intelligent you get about whatever games you're playing, the more you start doing that math in your head. You're not doing it to be a dick. You're not doing it because you're an evil bastard table flipping, beardy gamer. Not saying that those people don't exist, but you're still going to use that mentality to list build whether you're out to just have fun, because I hate that. I'm just here to play the game and have fun. Well, so is everybody, but everybody's definition of fun is a little different. And part of my version of fun is at least being competitive on the table. I love winning, but if I'm not going to win, I at least want to feel like I put the fight to him and made the other guy across the table think. Now, the problem becomes when the game isn't balanced properly, and so these lists that are going to be competitive and allow people to have fun through being competitive are only geared towards min-maxing, and that somebody that wants to have an army of Space Marines, that wants to bring a couple of scout squads as their infiltrator guys to get them up early, some regular vanilla Marines, a dreadnought, a land raider, and they want to have it feel like a force in a book. Right, because you read these books about this is the way the Marines prosecute battle. They don't send down all the heavy
combined
shit.
Arms. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they don't send down all the heavy shit because it's in limited supply. So they want to play by that because this narrative is so strong. The problem is in GW's hands. Make us a game where every unit has an opportunity to be competitive when played a certain way. And they try to through these theme lists. They try to through these, the various ways. Formations that would give you extra abilities and things that would make it more beneficial to use those kind of vanilla lists. And I like that. It's good. But it's reactionary. Stop being reactive and be proactive and start building a game that allows people to put everything they want. And I think they're working towards it. You can see it in the rules right now, but we're right. We're early. We don't have all the information. All the books aren't out yet. And so what we're left with now, if you want to play now and have fun being competitive now, you're going to build these lists where you're min-maxing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the environment makes it such that you can argue about it more. And hopefully what they do is they make those rule sets become a little more homogenized, not in a bad way, but something where I can feel like I can take that theme list and still be competitive enough on the table.
Yeah, and there's multiple ways to play 40K, and I do want to apologize that I didn't caveat this ATC spam list talk like I did in the webcast by saying never in the history of ever would I bring to, and nor should anyone who listens to this, to your friendly local game store, nor to your own Beats Lab and invite your friend over to play a game on a Saturday and drink beers with you, and you plop down, 3 Bane Blades, and he didn't know about it. Or 7 Crimson Hunters, he didn't know about it. Shame on you, and you are, sir, a piece of shit.
Yeah,
that's right?
Even my list is some people are looking at, because I'm doing this 1,500 point tournament this weekend at Next Gen, and it's like, let's keep it kind of cash. And like, even some people are already saying that like I'm, bringing like super heat, and I'm like just playing models I've been playing with for a long time, right? And I'm like, wow, I might have to because they want to play it a little bit more casually, right? And so I'm like, oh, I see now. So like, there's nothing wrong with multiple formats. The book actually outlines narrative, open play, match play.
Open narrative, absolutely. Only war. It is unreal. So again, for anybody who's listening to this and say, yep, that's what's wrong with this, blah, 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 like tournaments just aren't for you. I enjoy the competition. I truly enjoy it. And guess what? 60 teams of 5 signed up and paid money to go to ATC this year because they enjoy the competition. They enjoyed it as well. They know though. So for anybody who's sitting on the couch that isn't going to go to ATC and start judging what people are bringing, like, get a life. I'm going to say it now. You are now a troll, and get a life, because this is the people that are in that room. Those are the voices for this specific event that actually matter. Like, they know what they're getting into, because we've been doing this for 5-6 years now. We know that we're going to place, some of the coolest lists. Like I'll always remember some of the grossest lists. I've never seen a 13 drop pod army until ATC. I've always seen 9, 10, and 11. Never seen 13. Saw it last year or 2 years ago. Excuse me. It's just, that's what happens. So,
yeah, I think ATC was the year I played the original, the Devastator Land Raider list. Remember that?
Yep. No, it was. And then, Yeah, and then furthermore, Kenny, I'll take one with you. It was the same year that the I think it was the first time you guys ran. One was you played the Grey Knights with like 11 models in it, and was tabling fools. Like
that was year one. Yeah, that was
that was a simultaneous. I was playing, Razorback, like 7 Razorbacks, and my big fatty star of Thunderhammer, Storm Shield Terminators were Corvolo, and again doing the same thing, tabling full. Like it was. Either way, ATC is set up for this. You will see a little bit more balance.
It's actually more balanced than you guys think it is, because we actually talked about it. You go to a big event like LVO with 400 people in there. I think it was this year. It was the biggest singles event in the history of the game ever, right? But a very large percent of the field was playing one thing. Of like something like more than half of everyone there was playing this X and X. At a system like ATC, it's going to be 1/5 at the most, absolute most it can be. And so it's actually controlled with this spam, with these team format, very controlled. So it's going to be the most concise data we've received yet since 8th edition has dropped. I'm very excited for it, but also to touch on what Jason said about being reactive and proactive. I think that GW is probably being more proactive than people think they're going to be, because they dropped indexes. They already had a release date for chapter approved, already talked about, which will be like the big update. They're dropping codexes in between, and I guarantee formations right after.
Yeah, it's again, guys, we are going to see a different game of 40K. To be honest, I don't even think worrying about who goes for anything, I don't know if any of that truly matters once these codices come out, once we have unit special rules, once we have people that say ICs on a 4+, there's who knows what's happening, what's on the horizon. Take advantage and have fun of what you have right now. And I did just read a comment. I do just want to say, look, for anybody who says, because we're talking about lists that are more hardcore. Again, I just made a pat with myself. I'm not going to say spam anymore. So now that we're talking about lists that are more hardcore and exploit certain things, they're like, well, is that still holding in line with bringing the hobby back? And it's like, wait a second. We have always been advocates. If I'm going to a tournament and I put my mind to do something, I'm going to try to do it. And buy the tournament rule set. Does the tournament rule packet bring cool, fluffy lists and you're going to get narrative points? Does it say on there that I'm going to be this and this? No. If it did, then I would more than likely build a list to try to take advantage of those points as well. But what I love about ATC is that it is a tournament in its own right.
It's our boys.
Yes.
Remember our boys?
Yeah, so don't anybody out there, please do me a favor, before you start trying to demonize individuals who are playing hardcore lists. You don't have to worry about seeing those truly at your local store sometimes. You aren't going to have to worry about them, because the tournament structure says play to win the game. Bringing a hobby back tournament at Adepticon with the Long War crew, if you bring that list, let me tell you, points are going to be taken off because it is player policed. It's just facts. So you have to play the game that you have rule sets for.
We can't even guarantee that's going to be upheld this next year at our event, because we're playing a new edition with new challenges. The reason that the Long War built a Bring Hobby Back format that was 50% hobby score, 50% battle points was because we were looking for a way to fix a game system that had been crashing for 7 years. There was no new things coming out. There was no more innovation. It was just getting worse and worse. So that was our response to it. We don't know what's going to happen by next Adepticon. It may be PowerPoints tournament. We don't know. It may be no hobby score whatsoever. We don't know. Which in a comment on what Juice was saying about like demonizing words, we very deliberately made sure everyone know to call it hobby score, not soft score, because we didn't agree with the demonization that people had created. They were trying to make it seem like if you had hobby scores in your packet, it was soft, right? The opposite of badass. Mm-hmm. So that's also something Juice is talking about. Like, it's an illustration here. Like, we're just playing a game right now. We're going to let it shake out and we're going to move forward. Now, I feel like we've harped on that enough and we're getting to the end here. Let's turn it over to Mike Hassel, because we do need to talk about Graveyard Shift.
Yeah, so I don't want to talk people's ears off about the book and everything like that, but we are at the time of this recording 6 days out from my debut novel. The book goes live on the 18th. If you've pre-ordered it already, I thank you. And I am working on some kind of a thing to get folks some signatures and whatever. Right now I'm looking at having some book plates, which are kind of stickers that you put in the front of the book, and I can sign those and send them to you, and I'll personalize them and everything. And but those are super cheap to ship, because they're essentially like a postcard. And that would be probably the most economical way, but I'll sign regular books as well. Also, I want to bring up the fact that Audible will drop the audiobook at the exact same date. So you can pre-order it now. Audible actually has a 30-day free trial that if you go on there, my book qualifies as one of the books you can get. They'll give you 1 credit and you can go ahead and buy my book or a lot of other books that are on there that qualify. And I think you're going to be a fan. It's really, really cool. And later on tonight on my social media, I'm going to go ahead and post up a link that we have to the first 30 minutes of the audiobook in case you guys are on the fence as to whether or not you want to listen to it or not. Amazon does have a preview of the book up, so you can actually read the first chapter as well. And then after that, it's just spaced out throughout the book. There's huge chunks of pages missing. But you can take a gander at it if you're on the fence. I am going to do a Ask Me Anything Twitch stream on Sunday the 16th. That's this coming up Sunday. I will be painting models, but I'm not doing the normal painting Twitch stream where we're like kind of educating and doing a class. I'm just going to be painting models while I answer questions. So you can go ahead and join me. It's going to be at 5 Mountain Time. So whatever that is Eastern and 4 Pacific. So I'm happy. We also did another podcast. It is not going to take the place of next week's podcast. It's going to be a separate podcast that's just about writing and the book and how things went out, because honestly, this is a very cool platform and I would be stupid not to use it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a way to get the message out to folks and everything like that. And if you've already got the book and everything, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is my dream. I've been working towards this my entire life. And this book alone took me 9 years from when I first had the idea and sat down to write it to now. So it's pretty special.
Congratulations, man. It's a lot of hard work and you're well deserved of it too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can easily say, I know I speak for everybody for saying, Haspel, we're so pumped for you and happy to be along with this ride with you. You know what I mean? Via your Facebook Live stuff. I loved following that during the Denver Comic-Con, and I know you've got other book signings throughout the year, so I get a lot of joy out of watching all this fun and success.
Best believe I'm going to make it down to Miami for your Miami book signing. For anyone who doesn't know, the book is set in Miami, so that's a big deal. Yeah.
And the Denver Comic-Con stuff, I wanted to do a lot more live stuff from there. But once you were inside the building, the coverage was really, really spotty. So when I was near doors, I could actually do some live streaming, but otherwise it was really, really shady and it just didn't work.
Sketch City. Oh my God. Well, do you have something to take us out with today, Haspel?
Reese, Sergeant, TechCom, DN 38416, assigned to protect you. You've been targeted for termination.